The fighters of the 1st Tank Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and the State Border Service have carried out an operation to rescue captured Ukrainian fighters. As can be seen from the footage shot from a drone and distributed on Telegram channels, the soldiers of the occupying Russian army captured 3 Ukrainian fighters in a forest strip. In response, the Ukrainian drone operators managed to destroy the occupying soldiers with precise strikes. After the killing of Russian soldiers accompanying them, the rescued Ukrainian fighters were able to leave the area.
The Crimean Bridge, which was illegally built by the Russian Federation, must be destroyed as a link in an important logistics chain. Russian occupiers use it to deliver weapons and supplies to Crimea, as well as to temporarily occupied parts of the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. This was stated to Fabrika Novosti by the reserve colonel of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, pilot instructor Roman Svitan. In particular, he was asked to comment on the message of the Telegram channel Krymsky Vita about the attack of unknown UAVs on Russian airfields in Novofedorovka and Kacha. The expert suggested that the Ukrainian armed forces are probing the algorithm of the Russian air defense in the direction of the Kerch Bridge. He did not rule out the possibility that some kind of strike will be launched against it. There is a certain sequence of actions. Let's say in order to destroy the Kerch Bridge, you first need to open the air defense system, make it work, a kind of aerial reconnaissance in force, to the point that you can even send boards with engines there, said Svitan. He explained that such actions are carried out to study the location of the enemy's air defense systems, in particular to designate targets that will subsequently be attacked. According to the expert, the Kerch Bridge is an important logistical facility of the enemy that must be destroyed. A large amount of Russian weapons, ammunition, fuel, equipment are transferred through it, and it is impossible to immediately redirect this flow in another direction. In this context, even the railway to Mariupol, which was announced in the Russian Federation, will not help. They didn't create a new route. In order for it to become one, Mariupol must first be made a hub, like Rostov, and then logistics chains must be laid from Mariupol to the front. So, a military chain has been operating across the Kerch Bridge for several years, said the retired colonel. He explained that the logistics route, which includes the aforementioned overpass, runs from the Krasnodar territory of the Russian Federation through Taman, Kerch, etc. According to the expert, more than 150 military facilities of the Russian Federation are located in Crimea, and as a result, the corresponding weapons and supplies get along this route to the occupied parts of the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. Svitan emphasized that the occupiers will not abandon the use of the Kerch Bridge as a logistical link in the near future. They will not jump completely to the land corridor. It is very important for us to subtract the Kerch Bridge as the main logistics chain, which supplies firstly Crimea and secondly the Kherson and Zaporizhia directions, because through Mariupol they supply mainly the eastern front, but through the Kerch Bridge the occupied part of the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, and this should have been done yesterday, emphasized Svitan. In Russia, local authorities are beginning to cancel May the 9th parades due to fears of strikes by the armed forces of Ukraine. The Moscow Times reported on this. According to the governor of Krasnodar Krai, Veniamin Kondratiev, this year's parade will not be held in Krasnodar for security reasons. According to him, the decision is related to the high risk of air attacks by the Ukrainian armed forces. There will be no parade in Krasnodar because the parade will take place in Novorossiysk. It's simply too risky. Air raid alerts are issued almost every night, Kondratiev said. He added that the decision was made jointly with law enforcement agencies and the representatives of the army of the aggressor state. It's worth noting that military and industrial facilities in Novorossiysk itself, a city located on the Black Sea coast, have been repeatedly targeted by Ukrainian aerial and naval drones. The publication notes that the cancellation of May the 9th celebrations in Russia this year is not unique. In 2024, parades were cancelled in 1 out of every 4 regions of the aggressor country. Such decisions have primarily been made in regions that have been regularly attacked by Ukrainian drones. Among these regions are the Lipetsk, Belgorod, Kursk and Bryansk regions. In Moscow itself, the parade took place last year, but in a reduced format. Russian territory began to be shelled by the armed forces of Ukraine after the start of the full-scale war launched by Vladimir Putin in February 2022. Prior to the beginning of the large-scale combat operations, there were no attacks from Ukraine on Russian territory, the Moscow Times emphasized. Recently, independent news channel Astra reported that a Ukrainian long-range drone strike had targeted Alabuga, sharing purported footage of a drone being shot down. The Russian Defense Ministry claimed that Russian air defenses shot down one Ukrainian airplane-type drone in Tatarstan without providing further details or mentioning Alabuga. The strike, carried out by Ukraine's unmanned systems forces in coordination with other branches of the military, targeted a plant in the Alabuga Special Economic Zone of Russia's Republic of Tatarstan, the General Staff said. The facility that was hit manufactures up to 300 Iranian-style Shahed drones and their Russian-made variants, Gerans, per day, according to the General Staff. Shahed-style drones are frequently used by Russia in attacks on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. The attack is among Ukraine's deepest strikes into Russian territory since the full-scale invasion began in 2022. Ukraine hit targets over 1,000 kilometers last year for the first time, with one attack occurring 1,800 kilometers from the border in Russia's Murmansk Oblast.